Unit 8, Lesson 1-2 homework. For number 1, line segment AB, highlighted in yellow, tangent to circle C. Use Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Now basically plug your values in. If the sides equal, line segment is tangent. If they don't equal, then they're not tangent. Line segment AB and line segment AD, tangent to circle C. They both started from the same point, both tangent. Therefore, these linear sections right here, 3x plus 10 and the 7x minus 6, they're congruent. You set them equal to each other, you solve for x. Chords A, B, and DC are congruent. Determine the value of x. Well, that's because these two chords, not only we're told they're congruent, but basically you have this circle. It's a mirror image. So you said 18 equal to 5x minus 7. Solve for x. Good to go. Now, for these angles, so EFA, well, EFA is this purple dotted one, but notice how EFA is congruent to this vertical angle BFC. They're both 70 degrees. Now, since our angle was at the center, the arc length is equal to each other. So, since it's at the center, angles at the center, arc length, angle measure will be the same. They will equal. And then from here, now if we want to look at angle AFB, well, angle AFB is just 180 minus 70, and we're good to go. And then once you get that angle AFB, arc, this should have been, and I fixed it on your actual Google form, that should have been arc AB, not EA. That was a typo. Should have been AB. Now, if you answered the one for EA, okay. You didn't, well, it should be arc AB. Now for the last one. Grand total of the circle, again, must be 180 degrees. And now to get this part here, your angle, and eventually your arc, you're going to have to do 180 minus 45 minus 70. So that's how you get both that angle DFC, which is right here, and then arc DC is right here. Again, you have to identify which arcs come from which angles, and also identify if it's a center angle or not a center angle. So these were center angles. These are not. But if your angle is formed not in the center, but somewhere in the circle, to get the corresponding arc length, you multiply by 2. So if you're going from angle to arc, multiply by 2. And if you're going from arc to angle, just divide by 2. And that's how you get your angle measure here. Six. Now 6 diameter. That separates into 2 semicircles. So one semicircle, grand total has to be 180. So is the other one. But now watch the order of the letters. Order of the letters will tell us as well how to set up your arcs, like which direction. Now some of them are going to be easier than others. Now for instance, to get the PQ is this part right here. This part from P going up to Q. Now, we're told the grand total must be 180. So that's your grand total. and then you took out the portion, which was 120. And then as a result, you subtract those two numbers, and you'll get your value for arc PQ. And that's going to help us everywhere else we go. And similarly, P to O to N, again, another semicircle, 180 degrees. Now to get the entire length, we need to figure out now what is the length from O to N. Well, that's not so bad because you know what P to O to N is. That's 180. And we also know P to O is 70. So that's why you have PON minus ON. Oops. My hand went a little too far. And then these last angles, well, for instance, QPN, look at the arc formed. Divide that by 2 to get that angle. And then QNP, QNP, well, that's QPN. QNP is from this angle. So then you have to divide by 2 to get this angle. 180 over 120 divided by 2. And then the last one, OPN. OPN is here. On the arc, it would have to be 180 minus 70. Now to get that angle measure, just take your difference, which is your arc from arc ON, divide by 2. And that's how you're going to get your angle. And then last but not least, angle PNO. PNO. Oh, that formed a 70-degree arc, so 70 divided by 2. So that is how you solve that problem. And then the last problem, basically your goal, determine the measures of angle A and B. A is x degrees, y, that represents angle B. Basically for these two problems, opposite angles, supplementary, what that means basically your diagonals, A plus C must be 180. And then B plus D must also be 180. And then we can solve once you substitute appropriately. So in this case, we know what angle C is, so we now have to figure out, okay, what's 180 minus 100? So again, A plus C, x plus 100 has to add up to 180. D and B, y plus 102 must also add up to 180. That's really it for this homework assignment. As always, ask questions, email, you name it. Thank you very much. I hope this works well for you.